Hi, welcome to the Online Jewelry Academy. I'm Professor John Ahr, and I'm your instructor. In this video, I'm going to answer some of the most frequently asked questions about tumbling. Now, some of the answers I'm going to give you might surprise you, and at the end of this video, I'm going to show you how to tumble without a tumbler. So here we go. Number 1, what do I use in my tumbler? There are two primary operations that you perform with your tumbler. One is tumbling your jewelry, and that is to either work harden your jewelry or burnish it, or simultaneously doing both. To do that, you're going to need a burnishing solution. What the burnishing solution does is it helps to keep the shot bright, brighten your work, and have everything move in the tumbler. You don't want anything to stall inside of it. But be sure if you use a solution like this one that you follow the directions to the letter. If you don't, you may have a problem in your studio. For example, the top of your tumbler could pop off because it's sudsing too much. Now, if you don't have access to a commercial burnishing solution, you can substitute. The substitute that you would use is 1 drop of Dawn dish detergent. Now, it doesn't have to be Dawn. You could use another emulsifying detergent, but you only want to use 1 drop. Again, if you use more than that, you're going to have a problem. If you want to keep the shot bright, you can add a little bit of white vinegar, but don't add too much. About 1 teaspoon is about enough to do the job. If you want to, you can also substitute the soap with ivory soap. Just take a grater and grate a little bit into the water, and that will work just fine. The ivory soap will not foam up. Now, the second operation you perform with your tumbler is the cleaning of your shot. And yes, all shot gets dirty eventually and needs to be cleaned. And yes, there are commercial solutions that you can buy to clean your shot. Again, follow the directions to the letter. If you don't like handling chemicals and you don't want to have as many chemicals in your studio, you could substitute with baking soda, which is much gentler. What you're going to do is just make a paste of baking soda with a little bit of water, add that paste to the shot in your tumbling barrel, and then dilute it with a little bit more water. You want to run this for about 2 hours. You could run it as long as 6 hours if necessary. But after you finish, be sure that you thoroughly rinse the shot and the barrel, and then you might even want to run the barrel with the shot in it with clear water for just a few more minutes to make sure that there's no more baking soda residue in the barrel or on the shot. Now, this isn't for my own personal refreshment, and my name isn't Rebecca, but guess what? There's enough citric acid in cola that you can clean your shot with it. But be careful. Open the cola the day before you use it and let it gas out overnight. Otherwise, you got it. You're going to have problems. It'll pop the top of your tumbler and you're going to have cola everywhere on your countertop and a big mess to clean up. Number 2, how far should I fill my tumbler? After I add the shot to my tumbling barrel, I generally take water and fill it just to cover the shot. Now think of it like you're making a bowl of cereal and that you don't want the cereal to get too soggy. It's a great way to remember it. And of course I add my burnishing or cleaning solution, whatever I'm doing. I've been doing this for years and it works just fine. But some manufacturers will say, go ahead and fill the barrel halfway full with liquid. And the reason why they say to do that is because it may help to stabilize the tumbler on the tumbling base, and it might even reduce the noise that the tumbler creates. Number 3, how should I store my shot? Lots of people have lots of different ideas about how shot should be stored. Now, some people, they think that the best way to store their shot is to leave it in the tumbling barrel submerged under the last solution that they used, whether it's a cleaning solution or a burnishing solution. That may work for them, but any time that I've tried to do that, I've always had to clean the shot and then tumble. So what I prefer to do is I prefer to dry my shot off. Now let's pretend that this is my kitchen sink. It's just a tray. And let's pretend that this is a dish towel. I'm kind of jumping ahead because this is what I would ultimately store the shot on while I'm drying it off. This is just a microfiber, really absorbent cloth. Okay, but if that was my sink, I would put a dish towel in the sink, and then I would put a sieve into it. Doesn't matter if the sieve is stainless steel or plastic, but don't put all of your faith into this item. It could break, or it could get a hole in it, and then you have shot going maybe not everywhere, but one little piece of shot in your garbage disposal, you got a bill on your hands. So be very careful in the handling of it. And like I said, putting a towel down makes good sense. So what I do is I usually just position the sieve in some way where it's going to stand up. And then after I've drained most of the fluid out of the tumbler, I just pour it into the sieve. Now you saw maybe a couple of pieces jump out. That's why you want to have the towel down, so that you can just come back and pick them up and put them back in, finish draining it off. And then once you're done, you would transfer it to a surface like this where you could just put out the shot and let it dry. Now you notice that this shot's a little dark. This shot has been exposed to liver of sulfur, and as such, it's a little bit dark. It may need to be cleaned. But once this is dry, I'm going to store it in a container. Now this one is non-oxidized shot. This shot has never seen liver of sulfur. It's bright and shiny and good to go at any moment. As long as I clean my tumbling barrel out, I can use this shot to keep my silver bright and shiny. Now, if I want to use the tumbling barrel with jewelry that's been exposed to liver of sulfur to create contrast and light and dark on it, then I would use this shot. Of course, I occasionally will clean it because liver of sulfur has a nasty habit of clinging to the shot, and you don't want to, in a pinch, grab this shot and use it on that piece of silver jewelry you want to keep bright and shiny, because guess what? Some of the liver of sulfur is going to transfer to that piece of silver jewelry, and it's going to tarnish a little faster than you may want. Number 4, how do I break in my tumbling barrel? Now, a number of you are probably scratching your head going, why would you need to break in the tumbling barrel? Well, let me just tell you, if you grabbed one of these off the shelf and started using it, what might happen is some of the rubber from the inside of the barrel could transfer onto your shot or onto your jewelry. And then you've got a more complicated cleaning situation on your hands. So you do want to take the time to basically seal the rubber. Now, how do you do that? Simple. Little bit of cola. Now you heard that psst. That means that there's lots of gas in this cola. You never want to run cola that's nice and fizzy in your barrel because it can blow the top off. So take the top off of your cola the night before and just let it sit on the shelf. It'll gas out overnight. The following day you can put it into the tumbling barrel and run it. And what it will do is it'll help to seal that rubber so that you never have a problem with any of the rubber transferring onto your work. Number 5, how do I deal with discoloration? Before I tell you what might be the problem, let's just talk about some of the basic rules of tumbling. Number 1 is, if you want your silver to stay bright and shiny and nice and silvery looking, only tumble silver jewelry with other silver jewelry in your tumbler. Don't mix the metals. The other thing is this same rule applies for copper and brass and gold. You just want to keep the group of jewelry together with only other like items, because otherwise some of the metal might actually bang up against the other and discolor it with a little blush of yellow or some other color. Okay. Now, if you segregate your jewelry and you're still having a problem, probably the number 1 cause for discoloration on your jewelry is bad water. There are a lot of places around the world that just have really hard water. It's very mineralized. Those minerals actually affect the solutions, and they can make deposits onto the jewelry as well, especially if you don't dry it immediately after you take it out of the tumbler. So what I would recommend is invest in some distilled water. You don't need very much at one time in order to keep the shot submerged and the jewelry submerged, and there won't be any mineral deposits if you use this. The other thing is, maybe you have dirty shot. Like I said before, all shot gets dirty. So you can either use about a cup of baking soda and water to make a paste diluted with a little more water in your barrel, or you could use a commercial cleaner, or remember, you could use flat cola in order to clean the shot. Number 6, how do I successfully tumble multiple chains without them getting tangled? Well, you can run multiple items in your tumbler simultaneously. If they bump into each other, it's not a big deal. They're bumping into the shot anyway. So yes, you can run multiple items, but the problem with running multiple chains is that if you put a variety of chains in there, they tend to get scrambled and come out as a big octopus that'll take you hours to detangle. But there's a solution that's very easy. You have to be smart and recycle, and you're going to recycle that. It's the lid to a peanut can. Now, this is just a soft plastic, and what you're going to do is you're going to cut it into a lattice that's sort of like the links of a chain. And you're going to weave the chain or multiple chains onto one of these and run them in your tumbler the same way you would run anything through your tumbler. The plastic's really soft, it's not going to hurt the jewelry, and if the chains are loosely woven onto it, the shot will have no problem passing through and shining every link up. Then, when you're done tumbling, all you need to do is just remove this, rinse it off, take the chain off, save the plastic piece for the next time that you want to tumble, or you could use this. This would work just as well. It's very flexible, it's plastic, it's soft. Just be sure that you weave the chain through this as well. And that's how you tumble chains successfully. Number 7, how do I tumble jewelry without a tumbler? Well, the way that you do, wait a minute. Before I tell you that secret, I'm just going to remind you that we've got some great jewelry courses on udemy.com, and the links and the discount codes are in the description of this video, so check it out after you finish watching this one. Okay, back to this. How do I tumble jewelry without a tumbler? Well, you need one of these. This is a container for mixing up a protein shake, and that one big giant BB represents a container of BBs. Now you could go to a sporting supply store and buy BBs and put maybe, about an inch of BBs at the bottom of this thing, and then fill it about halfway with a very inexpensive cooking oil. And you could throw in copper jewelry, which is very soft, and you could use this like your shake weight. It's going to take a while, but it will actually work. You can actually get a really nice finish to some very delicate pieces or to some very nice elaborate copper pieces if you just shake them with the BBs. Now, they're going to be greasy when you take them out. So let me give you a couple of options. Number 1, you could wash them with detergent in order to get the cooking oil off, or if you used peanut oil, you might be able to just take the piece, clean off most of the peanut oil, put it onto a surface that you can heat, and then hit it with your torch. And you'll get a peanut oil patina on your copper, which can be beautiful. And we have a video on that as well. I hope you like these quick answers to problems that you might be having with your tumbler. Be sure to check out all of our videos on our playlist. Thanks for watching.